Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So moving on today, we're going to discuss alamatul ism. What's an alama? Alama is something ma yatamayyazu bihi an ghayrihi. Ma yatamayyazu bihi an ghayrihi. It's something which you can use to differentiate this from another. A distinguishing factor. So we said al-Qalam, the kalima, ثم الاسم والفعل ثم الحرف الكلم. So these are the three types of words. Now, how do we differentiate one from the other? As we get used to it, it's not really a problem, not really a issue. But just for technicality purposes, we have a few alamat. Now, in here he's mentioned the 5 main alamat. So he says بالجر والتنوين والنداء وال. بالجر والتنوين والنداء وال. 4. ومسند للاسم تمييز حصل. With jar, with tanween, by being munada, by having alif lam, by being musnad. Okay, ومسند للاسم, not being musnad, being musnad إليه, by meaning having isnad towards it. للاسم تمييز حصل. For an ism, tamyiz, differentiation will occur. حصل will occur, will be acquired. تحصل فعل ماضي. So بالجر والتنوين والنداء وال ومسند للاسم تمييز حصل. So he's mentioned 5 main characteristics of 5 main alamat via which we can determine that this is an ism. So first of all he says here al-jar. So if he said first bil-jarri. So another word for jar is khafd. That's why, for example, you get mansubun min naz'il khafid. You've done that in Jalalain. So khafd is another word for jar. You have khafid, you have jar, harfun khafid. You have makhfood, majroor. These words used synonymously. Some prefer, some have said, like in Sharh Ashmuni, he's tried to argue that khafd is a better term. But jar is more common in our terminology and more the books that we have used. Now, what he's saying here is that لَيْسَ الْمُرَادُ بِهِ دُخُولُ حَرْفِ الْجَرِّ. It doesn't mean that harf al-jar entering onto a word makes it ism. Why? Because look at the example. إنك hadith. إنك intadharhum. إنك intadhar wara. إنك. It's not in, it's mistake here. إنك أنتظر ورثتك أغنياء خير من أنتظرهم آلة تكففون الناس. That you leave your inheritors, your children, those around you, whose provision you're responsible for, that you leave them in a well-off state, independent state. خير من أن. An is what? Ism fa'al harf. Despite that, what enters upon it? A harfun jar. Similarly, in hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ أَنْ أُرَدَّ إِلَىٰ أَرْذَلِ الْأُمُرِ. Is a famous saying of, that's the example of harfun jar entering onto a harf. You even get harf jar entering onto a fa'al. نِعْمَ السَّيْرْ عَلَى بِئْسِ الْبَئِيرِ. Meaning, he was trying to say, Mahbuba, he said, it's a very good journey to ala bi's al-ba'ir, a very bad ba'ir. What he says, because obviously here is ta'wilat. This is ta'wil al-mufrad. He says here, the murad, when he says here, wabil jarri. Whenever you see the harf al-jar is an alama of being an ism, it doesn't mean that harf al-jar comes before it, or khafiz comes before it. It means rather what? That it can be in a state of majroor. So this word is not in a state of majroor. This state is not in the word of this word. The whole ta'wil al-masdar. The whole masdar is this word, the word individually is mabni. This is mabni la mahalla min al-i'rab. Ala bi's al-ba'ir la mahalla min al-i'rab is a fa'il. Correct? But what's happening here? That the murad is halat al-jar. It's in a state of jar. Correct? Make sense? The next one is tanween. What does tanween mean? Tanween is masdar nawwantu. What does that mean? Nawwantu. Sorry, tanween is a masdar of nawwan, a verb. Okay? And what does it describe that? It's a noonun sakina talhaqul akhir, ya akhir, li ghayri tawkeed. It is a noon sakin, because really, how is it pronounced really? you have, for example, rajulun is really pronounced like what? Rajulun. Correct? This is why when you do ilmul uruth, poetry and understanding the poetic meters, you'll actually count the tanween as a nun sakin. Because if I never wrote this on the board, rajulun, can you not hear the nun? And poetry is not about writing, poetry is about hearing, listening. Correct? So what he's saying here is that when you say, for example, you can't say, for example, rajulun. If you say rajulun and dhahaba. A novice might say it's the same pattern. Mutaharrik, mutaharrik, mutaharrik. But it's not. Why? Because what? It's got sakin. Mutaharrik, sakin. So in poetry, you have to count that in. But obviously in our normal day-to-day language, we don't write it as a nun sakin, or we don't consider it a nun sakin. But in poetry, this is very important. It's counted as one of the as a sakin. Okay? Correct? Now it has to be a nun sakina. Because for example, dayfanin is a word. Dayfanin. So a dayf is what? A guest who's been invited. And a dayfan is a tufayli, one who comes in for uninvited guest. So you have the word dayfanin. So this is not, what's that? That's not additional sakin. That's original sakin. That's not additional nun. What is that? Part of the word. Okay? Similarly, it has to be akhir. In kasara, it's not a sakin. Obviously, it's common sense, but it is. And li ghayri tawkeed. Because if you have lanasfa'an, that is what? That nun sakin is there, but it's for tawkeed. It's really la nasfa'an. La nasfa'an. La nasfa'an. Nun sakin. But that's what? Tawkeed. So therefore, it's not a tanween, it's a nun tawkeed. Correct? Now, whilst we're discussing tanween, there are a few aqsam, there are a few types of tanween. Okay? One is called tanweenu tamkeen or tanweenu sarf. This is the tanween that comes on munsarif nouns. Correct? Like rajulun, kitabun. It's called tanweenu tamkeen or tanweenu sarf. Opposite of mamnu' min as-sarf. Okay? The other one is tanweenu tankir. A tanween which gives the faida of nakira. Okay? Why is this? This is a tanween which comes on the end of noun, of names, of mabniyat, sorry. Comes on the end of mabniyat. So even, I had this question, I can't really find a definite answer, but this is what is. That tanween al-tamkeen also has a faida of nakira. We say rajulun, gives the faida of nakira. But that's not the original purpose of it. It's called tanween al-tamkeen. This one, and this comes on mu'rabat. This tanween al-tankir is one that comes on mabniyat, like ism al-fa'il. And what does it do? It gives it a nakira meaning, like ism al-fa'il or a mabni word. Like for example, saybuwayhi. So saybuwayhi is normally mabni al-kasra. But let's say for example, you have 5 people all saybuway. Or let's say for example, you got a whole class full of extraordinary Nahwa students and I nickname all of them saybuway, or 4 of them saybuway. And they're stuck in a Nahwa masla. I say, call one of the saybuways. Okay. So they call it saybuwayhin, and that's the meaning of tankir. Correct? I know these two look very similar. But this comes on the tanween tamkeen, tanween sarf comes on the mu'rabat. And this comes on what? The nakirat. Similarly, ih means more. Continue speaking. So let's say, for example, you're talking about nahu. Let's say we're talking after we class, we're talking about tafsir. If I say that's ma'rifah. That means what? Continue speaking in the conversation you are in. Let's say we're talking, we got tired. I don't want to go home. Let's just carry on having some conversation. I say ihin. What does that mean? Talk about anything. If you're talking about you're talking about the weather in China. If I say sah means uskut. That means what? be quiet regarding the current topic. If it says sahin, it just means please remain silent, I don't want to hear you at all. If it says sah, is ma'rifah, meaning the current topic, the weather in China has no benefit to me, I don't want to hear that. I'm not interested in that conversation. If it says sahin, meaning I've got a headache, or I don't want to hear anything, any conversation, sahin, mutlaqan tankir. Correct? The next one is called tanweenul muqabala. This is a tanween which comes at the end of jam'ul muannas asalim. Why is it called tanweenul muqabala? Because it comes in the muqabala of this noon. So muslimatun. They call that tanweenul muqabala. Again, you can argue, well, it also gives a file of nakira. It does, but you still call it tanweenul tankir. Sorry, tanweenul muqabala. Correct? Okay. Now, you have two more. One's called tanweenul iwad, one's called tanweenul tarannum. What's tanweenul iwad? That tanween which replaces something else. And the replaced thing can either be a harf or it can be a whole jumla. For example, ghawashin is from ghashiya. Ghashiyahum min al-yammi ma ghashiyahum. So ghashin is really, so if you, the rule is, if you have a fa'ilatun, the plural is fawa'ilu. Okay? So for example, if you got qa'imatun, and then now it becomes what? Qawa'im. So qa'ima, qawa'im. Correct? Even for example, come in the Quran, qa'idatun is what? Foundation. وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ. When the word fa'ilatun is an ism meaning, and it has fa'ilatun, then the plural is fawa'il. So ghashiyatun, هل أتاك حديث الغاشية, covering. So the plural is ghawa, shiyun. Because of the ta'alilat in the haruf illa and the ya, it becomes what? Ghawa, shin. The tanween you see here replaces the ya. Faqat tanweenul iwad. The next one is tanweenul tarannum. What does it mean? That tanween which is there for to give tarannum, to give a pronunciation, to give the wazn of the poem. So for example, it says aqillil lawma adhilu. So aqalla yuqillu iqlalan, to make less. Al-lawm is criticism. And adhil is really ya, is munada. It must be adhilatu, talking to muannas, aqilli. But because the ta is removed and it becomes adhilu. Mabni al-dhamm. So aqillil lawm ay ya adhilu, ya adhilatu. So aqillil lawma adhilu. Wal itaba. Itaban, again, lawm, itab. Lawm is lamenting, criticism. Itab is similar words. We're not into vocabulary, nahwa here, right? Waquli. And listen, jumla mu'tariza, in asabtu, jumla mu'tariza. And if I do something right, in asabtu, if I get something right, then you say, laqad asaban, he's got it right. Now obviously the words, the itab, wal itaba, and asaba. This is itab, is an ism. It's got alif lam, so it shouldn't be a noon. Fa'il is not ta'keed, because ta'keed comes fa'il mudari. So these are called tanween al-tarannum. The tanween which is there for the wazn. So this is called, or even here, it's not even wazn, because if you take both of them out, it's still fine, isn't it? Wal itaba, laqad asaba. So not necessarily for the wazn, it can survive without that as well, but it's called tarannum, to give a stretching, to give a particular sound at the end of the pattern. Correct? Okay? Nida. So that's the first one then. وَبِالْجَرِّ وَالتَّنْوِينِ وَالنِّدَاءِ وَأَلْ. So we done jar, we done tanween, and nida. And nida again here, it doesn't mean that the ya nida comes on it, because ya nida also comes on huruf. For example, ya layta qawmi. Layta is harfu mushabbahun bil fa'il. So ya layta. It means what? It is you're calling that person, it's being addressed to somebody. You being able to call somebody makes it what? It's an alama of it being an ism. Okay? Then you have al. Now they have different types of al, alif lam jinsiya, ahdiyya. Then in Durusul Balagha, and we'll probably come up later on in Ma'arif discussion. So we'll discuss that then. One point here is that sometimes this is the alif lam that is a sign of a word being ism is the alif lam which is not mawsula. Because we then comes under the al. So normally you have an alif lam on ism al-fa'il, ism al-maf'ul, and a was. الداخلة على الوصف, meaning here the mushtaqat, correct? But sometimes you can get an alif lam in shi'r. I've never seen it before, it's the first time I've seen it. You can get an alif lam coming on a verb as well, in the meaning of alladhi. For example, ما أنت بالحكم الذي ترضى, أي ما أنت بالحكم ترضى حكومته. This alif lam is what? Meaning of? Because رضي يرضى, this is فعل مجهول of the مضارع. ترضى حكومته. You're not the judge, or you're not the judge or the mediator. ترضى الذي, whose judgment is appeasing or pleasing to the people. So this alif lam is a mixed meaning الذي. So the alif lam, the meaning of الذي, that's not an alama of ism. Correct? Now, now musnad, it means what? It has isnad towards it. That's not being discussed here. There are some other, and these are 5 alamat. وبالجر والتنوين والنداء وال ومسند للاسم تمييز حصل. Correct? These are 5, but they're not limited. In Nahw al-Waf, he's given a few, and other books as well, he's given others, because any particular, anything makhsus or specified to a noun makes it an alama. So give you other examples. If it's mudaf, can a verb be mudaf? Can a harf be mudaf? So if a word is mudaf, that's also a sign of it being what? Ism. If it has a zamir referring back to it, because you can't, a zamir does not refer back to a verb, or it doesn't refer back to arf. It can refer back to the meaning of the verb. For example, i'dilu huwa aqrabu litaqwa. So the huwa is not referring back to the fa'il i'dilu. It's referring to the ma'na of adl. Correct? Yes. It comes majmu'. Correct? So daraba, darabu, the verb always remains mufrad. What's become muthanna? The second element, the element of the zamir. So becoming majmu' is also a sign of it being an ism. Musaghar. You can't have tasghir of it. You can't have tasghir or taqleel of the masdar, of the maf'ul mutlaq. Correct? Darabtu zaydan durayban. Possible. Okay, yeah, probably can do that. But you can't have the tasghir of a fa'il. Like duraybtu. Quwaymtu. You don't have that. You don't have the tasghir of the harf. Okay? So these are some other alamat, distinguishing factors which differentiate the ism from the fa'il. Correct? Any question regarding that? Yeah. So, what's the poem again? وَبِالْجَرِّ وَالتَّنْوِينِ وَالنِّدَاءِ وَأَلْ وَمُسْنَدٌ لِلْإِسْمِ تَمْيِيزٌ حَصَلْ. Correct? By having jar, by having a tanween, by having harf jar, meaning being a state of majroor, by having a tanween, any of the tanween, except the tarannum, because tarannum can come on a what as well? On a fa'il, like وَالْإِتَابًا. No itaban, قَدْ أَصَابًا. Or having a alif lam apart from the alif lam mawsul, or having isnad towards it. And then apart from that, you have these signs. If you have these signs, then what will happen? You can distinguish that this is an ism. Correct?
And you got
Ta'ul marbuta, yes. Ta'ul ta'nith. They haven't mentioned that. Interesting way. They haven't mentioned that in Tahul Wafi. Yeah. Correct. I think because sometimes you can have one, you can have it on a harf. For example, thammata or rubbata. So sometimes you can get a tam mutaharrik on the, is it ta'u ta'nith? I think it's ta'u ta'nith. That's why maybe it's not mentioned it. Because you get rubba, you get rubbata as well. So that's why sometimes, that's why it's not mentioned as alamat of ism. But again, for beginner, yes, but it's like far off. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanallah wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.